Dear students, good evening. Welcome to Excellence IAS. Today, we are starting Interview Guidance Program 2022-23. In this video, we will be looking into service preferences, zone or cadre recommendations. Remember, a nicely filled DAF, detailed application form, is half the interview done well. It means that if you can work diligently on your application form, half of your interview you have won before you have attended the interview. So that's why you need to keep your time, take necessary expert advice in filling your DAF. Always fill the DAF. So take a physical paper, fill the DAF, and then show it to an expert and complete the online application form. So again I say to the students, don't take any section, don't mark any section without giving a complete thought to it. That is my request for you. Today we are going to see the service preferences. Now let me give you the story of Vishnuvardhan Reddy and Snehaja on Indian Foreign Service. Vishnuvardhan Reddy is an achieved doctor from All India Institute of Medical Sciences. In the first attempt, he got a rank and he got selected into Indian Foreign Service. He did one small mistake, which he did not know that his career consequences will be determined. First preference he kept for IAS, second preference he gave for Indian Foreign Service. But a person who gets selected for Indian Foreign Service cannot give attempt again. So obviously, he has to go away from Indian Foreign Service and go for the attempt again. If he wants to be in that service, he can't give the attempt. What will you do? That's a big dilemma. So everyone wants to keep a service which they got because this exam is unpredictable. And then with that security, they want to take up the exam again. So Vishnu is in a position where he was unable to take the exam again because he don't want to risk losing that Indian Foreign Service. Now Snehaja also kept, after IAS, she kept IFS, Indian Foreign Service. So what happened to her? Just with 2 ranks, she fell in Indian Foreign Service. Now, she wanted to become IAS. Again, she has to resign for Indian Foreign Service and has to take the exam. So, if you are selected for IAS or Indian Foreign Service, you cannot take the examination again. That is the keyword you need to remember. And second, certain enthusiastic students, they keep IPS. They have got that particular uniform fantasy. They keep IPS first. Remember, the IAS and IPS, 2 uncomparable jobs. IAS is purely generalist. IPS is specialist job. In these circumstances, in IAS, your exposure is much wider. The authority enjoyed by the IAS is uncomparable to any other service in India. So that's why, unless you are 100% determined towards Indian Police Service or Foreign Service, I recommend always go with Indian Administrative Service first. On the other side, if you want to go for diplomacy and you have strong passion for diplomacy, you can go for Indian Foreign Service. And you are passionate about Indian Police Service, now you can go for IPS. But unless you are 100% sure, don't change your preference. So first is always goes with the master, that is IAS. The second is, let's take IFS and IPS. So you are okay with IFS and you don't want to continue with the examination, you can keep Indian Foreign Service as second position. You want to stay in India, you don't want to have heavy mobility, go for Indian Police Service. Indian Police Service. Especially for women, Indian Foreign Service, it brings lot of family problems to them because they have to move across the continents. So having a stable life, it may become difficult sometimes. So Indian Administrative Service is preference 1. The second, Indian Police Service I recommend. The reason is, if you are selected for Indian Police Service, still you have a chance to improve your rank. If you see Yashwant Kumar Reddy, All India rank 15 last year, first he was there in Group 1 service, state services, commercial tax officer. Then he got into IPS through UPSC. Then he got into IAS. Right. The third preference. So if you want to stay in India, you prefer a service in India, then revenue services are good enough. The revenue services, so IT or customs and excise. Remember, both the revenue services are losing their sheen. And every government job is expected to lose their sheen with automation and increasing accountability at every level. In these circumstances, faceless evaluation or whatever we studied in the exam, it has reduced the importance of IRS a bit. So anyhow, I recommend IT to be the third, and then the customs and excise to be the fourth one. So third is IT, IRS IT. So IRS IT 14th. One second. IRS IT, and then IRS IT, this is the third, and then IRS, which is related to this thing. Next important aspect is IFS. So you can give the Indian Foreign Service a fifth position. But if you don't have any objections to travel abroad, you can give the third position to Indian Foreign Service. And then after these five are filled, Indian Administrative Service, Police Service, and then Foreign Service, IRS IT, IRS Customs and Excise. Once these are been filled, then what shall we go for? Then the most important thing is what kind of life you want to have. So you want to have a peaceful life where you can go home at 5 o'clock and play with your kids. Then I suggest you to go with accounts services. In this case, audit and account service is a very good service. Audit and account service. There is another challenge. Defense Estate Service, it has got the magisterial powers. So you are the one who always dreamt of IAS and you want to have certain magisterial powers with you, then you can choose Defense Estate Service. So the Defense Estate Service can be either 6th or 7th based on your choice. If you want to go with a peaceful life, go for audit and accounts where you have a lot of authority, but at the same time you have peace at your home. On the other side, if you want to have magisterial powers, you can choose for Defense Estates Service. So this is what is the preference I try to give. And then among the Group A services, certain services are called relics. One of the great relic is Indian Postal Service, and second, you also have Indian Telegraph or Telecom Services. So these Telecom Service and Indian Postal Service, these have colonial legacy, but today these do not have much importance. So if you want to go for that, you want to have a good estate or good peaceful life, these also can be good. So after this 6th and 7th positions, I allow to go with other account services. And coming to railways, Railway Traffic Service is called the IAS of railways. When you see the most hectic job among all these services, that belongs to the Railway Traffic Service. So if you want to have that hectic job, busy job, manpower under you, then you can go for Railway Traffic Service. If not, accounting services, Railway Account Service is there, Civil Account Service is there. So Railway Accounts, Civil Accounts, what is your advantage? You will be stationed at cities, most are important towns. Always you can get good education to your kids. Your spouse also can find some good job. That way you can get the stable family life. So in this case, again let's recollect. First is IAS. Second we went to IPS. Third IFS. Fourth Revenue Services. And Revenue Services IT, Customs and Excise. After that, Audit and Accounts Service, Defense Estate Service. Based on your choice, based on your preference, you can make that. And then Railway Traffic Service, Railway Account Service, Civil Account Service. These are the few things which you can choose after that. Then the relics, you can go for big relics. These are Indian Postal Service, Indian Information Service, and then Post and Telecommunications Accounts and Finance Service. This is a new service which has to be kept at the bottom. So Indian Postal Service, Indian Information Service, that's what you can fill after that. And there are few other services which are called newbies, which have recently entered. So that is relatively new services. They don't have a big infrastructure, but still these are good services. Indian Company Law Service or Corporate Law Service, and then we have Indian Trade Service. These are to be considered. So these are newbies into the system. Obviously, Corporate Law Service, it is getting its prominence slowly. And next, Indian Trade Service, it is not a very fancy service. You can keep this to the bottom. So this is how you can fill your service preferences. After that, you can go for Group B, DANIX, after that DANIPS, and then Police Services. After that, you have Pondicherry Service, and then Group B service you have, that is, what is that? Indian Armed Forces Headquarters Civil Services. These are the things you can fill at the bottom. So this is how I would like to give preferences. Hope I am clear to you. Now, let's go for this zonal preference. Remember how this works. Let's take if I got first rank, then my zone 1, where is the zone 1? Preference 1 will come to me. Zone 1, the first preference will come to me. Now I got somewhere 870th rank. So already zone 1 is been filled. Then I go to the zone 2. In the zone 2, first preference is been given. Even zone 2 first preference is also filled. Then I will go to zone 3. Then I will go to zone 4. Then zone 5. So first preferences are filled in all these levels. Then I come back again to zone 1. Then I will be given second preference in the zone 1. Second preference in the zone 2. That's how they try to go for. It means what I am trying to say here is zone 1, zone 2, zone 3 as per my preference order. So first preferred zone, first preferred state, this is been given. And then second preferred zone, first preference in the second preferred zone. And third preferred zone and first preference in the third preferred zone. After the cycle is completed, again we come to the cycle where what is the first choice of zone that will be given. In this, second preferred state is being looked at. So it goes like this. And then again it goes to first. Again it comes like this. So again it comes like this. First zone, what I gave preference to, this is how it moves across. So in this case, let me give you the story of Sanjana. So Sanjana is an insider to Telangana and outsider to Andhra Pradesh. So you know, insider outsider 1:2 is the ratio. So you can get an outsider preference very easily compared to insider preference. Next is another person, Sudhir Kumar Reddy. He got West Bengal cadre. So he belonged to Andhra Pradesh and then he did not get the mother cadre. Some other person from Telangana, he has got the mother cadre. So let us try to understand what is the problem faced by Sudhir Kumar Reddy and Sanjana, how they have answered this dilemma. Sanjana belonged to Telangana. Now, she always looked it from another dimension. So they have asked, do you want to be allocated to mother state, home cadre? She kept no. She did not keep? Yes, she kept it no. In the place of that, she selected zone 5 as her first preference. In the zone 5, first preference is given to Andhra Pradesh. In the zone 5, what is her first preference? Andhra Pradesh. When Andhra Pradesh became her first preference, so what happens? In the allocation, she becomes outsider to Andhra Pradesh. Obviously, outsider seats will be more compared to insider seats, and she got for sure Andhra Pradesh cadre. That's how she got the predictability in this particular selection. Now, if you are not 100% attached to your home state, especially for Telugu students, I ask them to do this trick. Now, if you are from Andhra Pradesh, then do you want to consider your home cadre? If you can keep no. And in outsider category, if you can keep Telangana. then there is a good chance in outsider category you may be allocated to Telangana, because outsider vacancies will be almost double the insider vacancies. For Telugu people, as two Telugu states exist, this works very well for them. So try to remember this particular trick. On the other side, if you are very confident that I will get in the first 10, my name will be there, then even if one post is there for insider in my category, I will get into my home state, you can go for that. I don't have any problem. So I'm always a kind of safety net I am looking at, because if you go away from that south zone, and obviously you will go to west zone. Normally South Indians, they go to west zone. Then you may go fall in Maharashtra. Instead of that, if you compromise on this home cadre, no, then there is a good chance you fall into another Telugu state. That is the trick you carefully understand. And if you have any doubts on this, you can personally meet me. So in this case, I filled another form. Let me explain you through this. So first is, for obvious reasons, it is AP students and Telangana students. Zone 5 is the first preference. Do you agree? And second preference, I recommend Zone 3. And after that, Zone 2. And after that, Zone 1. And you know, the Zone 4 is the last preference for us, because these are small northeastern states. Only the West Bengal is the reasonably big state in this. For IAS, I am filling it now. So for IAS, first is, if you want to follow the trick, if you are Andhra Pradesh, say no to the home cadre and you can select the Telangana, then your chances of getting Telangana will be high. And second, if you want to keep Andhra Pradesh as your home cadre and you want to be there, then you can follow that. If Telangana guys wants to go for Andhra Pradesh, if they want to compromise, they can prefer Andhra Pradesh as their first preference and they may reject the home cadre. So that depends purely on them, if they want to play the trick or not with UPSC. So if you want to go as like a routine, so Andhra Pradesh people will be Andhra Pradesh cadre, Telangana people will be Telangana cadre. And first will be Andhra Pradesh, obviously they go second for Telangana and reverse in the other case. And the third is, for Telugu people, the Karnataka will be the better state. And after that, relatively large and culturally close state is Tamil Nadu. And then you can go for Kerala as the last preference in this particular list. Now, after this, I recommend you to go for Zone 3, because Zone 3 has unique advantage. Other than Chhattisgarh, the remaining all the states are the large states. Madhya Pradesh is relatively undeveloped state, but Maharashtra, Gujarat are very well developed. So Maharashtra has good respect for civil servants. After that, Madhya Pradesh versus Gujarat. In the existing political scenario, Gujarat state can provide you good career prospects. And Madhya Pradesh, if you want to go to a state where you want to see the development, etc., you can go for that. And if you go for the new state, Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand, the promotion to DC is very quick. So if you want to become DC at very early age, you can choose the Chhattisgarh over Gujarat. But however, if a normal student go by normal wishes, I prefer this particular marking. Let's go to the next zone, that is third preference. So the third preference, now here again, if you want to be in Delhi most of your time, then go for the third preference in the Zone 1. On the other side, if you want to stay in the states, go for Zone 2. I prefer Zone 2 because the states will have independent power in our federal system. In the Zone 2, the largest state is Uttar Pradesh. That can be your first preference. After that, Odisha is close to us. Culturally, it's close to us. You can go for second. Or the relatively larger state is Bihar, third preference. Then you can go for Jharkhand. And fourth preference is Zone 1. So in the Zone 1, what is the state, biggest state? Size of the state is very important. So Rajasthan is the first preference. And after the Rajasthan, so Augmut cadre is very prominent and it is going to be very good state. And along with that, Punjab, Haryana, and then Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. These are the states I love to prefer. And the last zone, obviously West Bengal will be our first choice. And Assam Meghalaya is going to be the second choice. And among the other states, Tripura, Manipur, Nagaland, Sikkim. So in this case, third is I'll go with Tripura, then Sikkim, and after that I go for Manipur, and last will be Nagaland. So this is how I love to prefer this particular arrangement. And one change we can look for in the case of IPS. In the case of IPS, the Union Territory Center IPS people enjoys enormous power. In the case of IPS, in the case of Zone 1, that is fourth preference, Ogmut has to be given the first preference. Previously, we gave second preference to Ogmut and Rajasthan the first preference. In the case of IPS, the first preference will be for Ogmut, the second preference will be for the Rajasthan, and then third preference will be for Punjab, fourth for Haryana. So like that you can, fourth is for Haryana, and like that you can prefer for that. The big change you have to make is Ogmut has to be given the first preference in the case of IPS. This is what you need to remember. Hope I gave you certain understanding of the things and how different people played, to gain the cadre they wanted to have. You can look at that. Telugu people, as they are being distributed in two states, they can play certain trick over here and try to understand that. Similarly, Bihar and Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, people can play that particular trick, right? This is what is the first lesson. Thank you very much.